Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Today I have the opportunity to work on a later edition of the famous Mitchell line, but this one is after Mitchell went bankrupt and no longer marketed the reels under their brand. This one is a Garcia, and Garcia kind of kept the naming convention of the Mitchells but just changed them a little bit. This is the Garcia 3000 as opposed to the Mitchell Garcia 300. So we're going to take this reel apart. We'll note the differences that are in this reel versus the other. Some are obvious, like the anti-reverse override is on the back end here rather than on the case. And we'll show you how the reels are the same and how they're different. So for example, this one is very similar to the 300A, where it has a safety switch for your bail. If you pull that over, you can collapse the bail and keep it out of harm's way when you're transporting the reel, and then simply reset it to have that reel fish. Well, we're going to take this reel completely apart. We'll service it, and we'll get it back out there fishing again. And if you like these types of videos, I'm going to encourage you to subscribe to my channel. And if you do subscribe to my channel, please use the notification button to see what I'm posting and when I'm posting it. And that way you can make a decision as to whether that's a video that you would like to watch or not. Well, that handle is a little tight right now, and I just want to check before I go any further that there's not a through screw on here. Because the last thing you want to do is try to get yourself, yep, I thought there would be. That's a difference between the 300 and the 3000. There's a through bar that goes through the main gear here, and it's held in place by a screw. And if you're not aware of that, well, you can try to twist this handle off and break the stem. So always check if you're meeting any resistance at all in terms of turning that reel handle to remove it. If any of that comes across, then please stop, check the other side like I just did, and you'll learn whether it's held together with a through pin, and save yourself a broken handle and maybe even a broken reel. I've removed the screw and a little washer, and I have the cap, and all of those are going to go into a parts tray. I use my parts tray to keep track of all the pieces that I take off. There's various types of organizational systems. Mine is organized chaos. I put them all into the same basket. But if you're one of these folks that kind of takes them out and lays them out on a towel or something in the order that you've taken them off, and know that to install you go in reverse order, that's fine. If you have different ways to do it, go ahead. Whatever works for you. Organized chaos kind of works for me. But that's just me. There's 3 side plate screws, that's same that there would be in a Mitchell. And we can remove this now, and we'll see a lot of differences between what we'll call the over-engineered Mitchell, and we'll just call this the under-engineered reel from Abu Garcia. This one has a main gear, and it has a arm that comes off. It has a crosswind arm. It has a bushing, and I guess that bushing, if you wanted to, could be upgraded. I'm assuming that you can do that. It has bushings on both sides. That's a difference from the Mitchell. The Mitchell uses the case as the bushing. We're going to wipe off the axle shaft, and we're going to come up top and remove the others. So as I take these off, I want to put those pieces into the parts tray. Okay, so we just put the main gear and the bushing into our parts tray. I think that's going to be a reason why this was running poorly. If we spin the rotor, that's certainly running easy enough. We're going to back this off. We're going to take that off from the override. You'll see a difference here as well. You'll see how that little collar is the anti-reverse override in this case. I'm going to use a deep socket here. Another difference is that's an 11 millimeter nut up top here, and the Mitchell 300 series is a 12 millimeter. Underneath here, all you want to do is check and clean up, and we're going to kind of remove what we can of the collars here too. I'm going to take the 2 of those pieces and put them into the parts tray. And put my Phillips head screwdriver. We'll take this trip ramp off, and we'll remove that that assembly that's holding the pinion gear, so that we can do a good cleaning on that as well. Excuse me. Dry throat. So I believe the way that this works, the ramp comes off, the bearing comes out, and then I think the rest pushes down. Yeah, the rest pushes down and gets removed from the inside. So, like every service that we do, we take a complete take apart on this. You can see that we have a collar there. And I'm going to use oil on that bearing. I'm going to soak that bearing. I'm going to use my hard brush to clean out the teeth of the pinion gear. So by Mitchell standards, this is not as engineered as the Mitchell was, but okay, just finishing up cleaning the case then. That's nice and clean. There's another difference. It's a metal case, but it's not the heavy case of the Mitchells. All right, we're going to take our fishing reel grease then. I'm using Penn Precision reel grease for this. We're going to make sure it gets a nice healthy coat of grease. Push that back down to set that ratchet. That's why you take it off, so that you can load this in easily. Bring the ratchet up, hold it with your finger like that, then bring the main bearing from the top down. Make sure that it seats flush to the collar. Find your little collar now. That's got a ramp. It's not a flat piece. So what you want to do is bring the ramp so that it sits against this metal stud here, and align the two holes for the screws. I'm going to use a little bit of grease to try and hold that screw to my screwdriver. And we'll get that started and tie that in. Okay, that's the one. We'll do it again. So this reel was only made for a short period of time. Garcia's was a distributor in the U.S. for the Mitchell reels. Mitchell's bankruptcy kind of caused them to be out of reels to distribute. So they started making the Mitchell reels under their own name for a while. And that only lasted for a short period of time. Then the company was eventually, Garcia went bankrupt. And the reels from Mitchell got sold to Browning, who only ran it for a short period of time and didn't make the Mitchell reels. They made Browning reels during that period. Kind of fun little things. But these are made in Japan, which is interesting because the last of the Mitchell ones, the Mitchell iterations of the reels, were made in Taiwan. So the production actually went from France to Taiwan and then to Japan. And look at how nice and easy that turns with just a little bit of grease and oil and cleaning. So this reel's got a lot of life left in it, and we're all too happy to help with that. All right, I'm going to try and get this bushing off now because that's clearly the issue here. I'm going to try grabbing this from the outside. I use a channel lock pliers, and I use it for a lot of things, but yeah, you can tell that that's the cause of the tight performance. I'm thinking, or at least I'm hoping, that it's just a lot of dried grease and not a lot of oils and the like. So we're going to just run that. I'm just going to take a rat tail file if I can find it, and just very lightly come along the inside. There may be a burr or something on the inside that's occurred. I don't want to elongate the inner loop, but I do want to make sure that I knock off anything that might be an issue there. Inserted in the side case, it's time to set the oscillation system together. So bring your axle shaft down. Your main gear, which has been greased, goes inside. And now what we want to do is we want to land a pin on the crosswind arm into the hole in the axle shaft and into the groove in the back of the case. If you've done that successfully, you'll notice as you turn the reel that the shaft is going to go up and down. Okay, there's a corresponding case on this side that has a slot. You can put a little bit of grease into that. That's where the stud from the crossline arm here is going to travel and keep it square. With that on, then we can go ahead and reset the case. That was a nice crisp snap. I always like to hear that. And we have the 3 side plate screws. The side plate screws are another difference to the 300. These have a Phillips head as opposed to the flat plated head of the earlier 300s. Both of those are tapered and do ride inside the case. Okay, so a little sticky bushing was probably the biggest cause of this. I didn't see a lot of bad greases and the like, so we're okay there. And we'll put the handle on, and we'll service the spool, and we'll see how we did. So I like to clean the reels as I service them. I use a rod and reel cleaner. It's a Penn Precision rod and reel cleaner. We'll give it a squirt. And then that should take off some of the film and the other things that just tend to find their way onto fishing reels. There's no sense when you're servicing a reel of taking any shortcuts. It's only going to get you in the end. And if you can clean them up and keep them cosmetically nice, well, that's just a little added bonus. All right, that's done. The push button release for the spool is the same. And now we can look underneath, make sure that the drag washer is okay. To do that, you want to hold the back ratchet here and remove the top. And we have a E-clip on top here, so let's remove that. This is a plastic spool as opposed to the metal spool of the 300s. Now you can do it either 2 ways. You can push this carrier through like that, and use it as a Teflon washer on the bottom like this one is, so you want to check for that. And then up top there should be one, and the drag stick. So this one, unlike the 300 counterpart, has a lot more drag capacity to it. We're going to take this, reset the bottom of that, and we'll check these. These are hard washers, and it's a 6 drag set. And the way that the 6 drag sets usually work is you have a first in is the washer. This one was a Teflon. Then you have 2 keyed washers. These actually look like the letter D. There's one flat side to it, so find the flat side on the shaft. Then we have 2 some kind of composite washers. Find those, and then we have what's called an eared washer in the center. And you have to align that with the slots in the reel. And I'm struggling to get that one in or on for whatever reason. So let's do this again. We've got the one in. I don't know why this one is struggling to go down as it, but it is. So just be patient. Walk it in. When you can't walk it in any further, maybe a screwdriver or something will help you get it down. I think it was binding on this one. There we go. A little section there. Probably old and shrinking a little bit. All right, there's a slot for your keyed washer. Just find it. And the second one of the red ones. And again, same idea here. Not quite sure why they're being a little stubborn, but they are. And then we can put the metal in. Make sure that they're all the way down, and then get your clip. That will ride in a groove. Just making sure that I can see the groove. And just put that in there. Bring your spool back on. Tighten this up. That'll press anything down that was a little tight while I was doing that. Check it to make sure that it's holding, which it is, and then back it off for storage. Let's take the handle now. Take the screw out. I always like to put the screw in there because to me, I know where it is when it's time to reinstall. It may be different for you. Again, whatever works for you. I'm not going to tell you to use my management techniques. We all think differently, and you may have a better one. All right, tighten that down. I'm not sure if that's original to the reel or not. I will assume it is. Tighten that down, make sure that your stud is tight there. Put the cap back on. Be careful with this one, it's plastic threads. Sometimes these things don't hold very well. Sometimes they get stuck. There we go. Give it a turn. Put your anti-reverse on. And there you go. This one's ready to go fishing again. We didn't service the bail. You don't need to service the bail if the bail is working. It doesn't hurt to put a drop of oil behind for the bail, but other than that, don't take the bail off unless it's not working properly, and this one is. So the reel is still usable today. It's a nice example of a late 1970s reel, and I hope you've enjoyed seeing how it comes apart, how it's serviced, and how it goes back together again. To our first responders and essential personnel, thank you for everything it is that you do to keep us safe. And to all, please, I wish you good fishing, stay well, and stay watching. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Have a great day.